Hey, my name is Wes, and today I'm making a video that is called Social Media for Dummies. Making this video today to help out some of our clients, and maybe it'll help you too, because sometimes you're told about platforms or told about terms, or sometimes you're just introduced to things that don't make sense. You might not know the back history, or maybe it's not until now you need to. So I'm making this video to kind of help you out and help out others you want to share this with. So I have my notes off screen because it's a lot. So if I'm not looking directly at you, that's why. So social media for dummies, what in the world is social media? We'll start kind of somewhere simple. So social media in the simplest form is a way to connect with others, create relationships, and establish credibility. You use this, or used to do this in bars, on cruises, at parties, any kind of social get together. But today it's all in the palm of your hand, which presents its own issues, obviously, with, being able to be sociable or do socialing well. So let's jump into back history. All the way back in 1997, social media was born, or at least as we know it. Starting with a company called 6 Degrees, we now have all the goodness we know and struggle loving now. 6 degrees refers to the degrees of separation between humans at any given time. In 1997, on the average, there was 6 degrees of separation between any human. Now, what that means, for example, 6 degrees of separation means between me and any other human, there's only 6 people. So between myself and Arnold Schwarzenegger, there is 6 people. So I know someone who knows 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 Arnold Schwarzenegger. Within 6 steps, a friend of a friend can lead you to anybody. In this case, for example, within 6 friends of a friend, I could get to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Today, with the help of modern social media, such as Facebook and some of the others we're going to talk about, it's said that there is less than 4 degrees of separation between you and any other person in the world. So between you and a royal prince, not the Nigerian prince that we all get emails from, but between you and someone else in the world, anywhere in the world, 4 people. Thanks to social media. Now, I'm not a genius on this topic. It's not what I studied in school or anything like that, but I've spent a lot of time over the past decade making social media work for me. The companies I work for and work with, and today I manage the content, marketing of content, and I even manage accounts revolving all around creating income off of these platforms that we're going to discuss today. So for me, I do fundraising, content creation, marketing, etc. And honestly, without social media, they wouldn't go anywhere. I do online marketing. That's online. So these platforms we're going to talk about today is where I spend all of my time. So hopefully I can share some information with you that's helpful. So let's get started into a list of popular platforms today, and also a couple extra because honestly, you just need to know where they played their part. I just want to make a disclaimer for all of these that I'm going to mention. You can simply Google the name of them, which if you don't know what Google is, I'll teach you that too. You can simply Google the name of them and look at their Wikipedia page and find way more information than I gave you. I fact-checked my information, but most of this information, I basically just kind of did comparisons on why they were created, what functions I even recall when they were first started, and things like that. So we're going to go to 2002 first. 2002, there was the platform LinkedIn that was created. LinkedIn. You get LinkedIn. That was created in 2002, and it was created for workplace networking. It's a place where you could post your resume, your credentials, etc., for your network and for potential employers. So you can, on that platform then and now, you can get rated by your coworkers, like star system from 0 to 5 stars on your expertise, your knowledge, your capabilities of something, whatever. But also on that platform now, you can apply for jobs. relatively easily too. It's super simple to apply for a job on there. In 2003, there was the invention of MySpace. MySpace was friend focused, lots of strangers. I think that MySpace was really that kind of catalyst to start connecting humans from around the world. I think there was also a catalyst in encouraging people to kind of maybe step out and have an online life. I think that it probably fueled a lot of the gaming habits and things like that that started early on with RuneScape and different things like that. But MySpace was all about friends. Lots of strangers on that platform. You had videos, photos, text, lots of music. Even after its primary death, music still thrived on MySpace. And then also had this interesting aspect of coding and customization where you could code your profile and make it look like and function in different ways. Biggest feature that was like kind of a defining factor for MySpace was the top 8. And the top 8 basically you were ranking your friends. So you had your top 16, your top 8, your top 4 or whatever. And I think they ended up doing away with it. But what it did was you allowed people to know who your best friends were. And something interesting about it that's kind of interesting to compare to our next topic is the friend count was public and there was no maximum of how many friends you could have. The next year, 2004, Facebook was created. Now, Facebook was created for friends as well, but more of acquaintances, more of people who you met in college. It was first established for college students. You could not sign up if you did not have a college ID, or a college email or some kind of verification process that they went through. Different from MySpace. MySpace was a place where you could kind of make up who you were online, different custom usernames, whatever in the world you wanted to do. Facebook used your real name. So for some of us, if we carried over from MySpace to Facebook and had the same friends, we learned their names for the first time. So that was really interesting. A lot of people on Facebook, even to this day, use their first, middle, and last name, which it's just something that it encouraged. Now, different from MySpace, Facebook encouraged you to make real connections with those that you're connected with online. So real connections on the internet based on connections that you have in real life. Now, Facebook from the get-go started with video, photo, text, etc. Different from MySpace, it was kind of this like feeling of everybody's equal. Okay. What's different from MySpace, and why I said that earlier, was your friend count was private. You couldn't see how many friends people had. That way there was no ratings or, I have 13,000 friends, like no bragging or whatever. It was all based around having genuine engagement, not just, whatever made you more popular in your circles. But with Facebook, even still to this day, you max out at 5,000 friends. I think it's fair to say if you have more than 5,000 friends, you don't actually know them all. Now, moving forward, in 2006, we have Twitter. Twitter is a text-based platform upon creation that was started where you could only write things and you only had 140 characters. So if whatever you wrote, it needed to make sense, it needed to be bold, and it needed to be punctual. Because if it wasn't, you couldn't post it. So if you ever hear someone referring to, we'll just make a tweetable, or, let's think like a tweet. Really what Twitter did is it made people compress their thoughts and made people kind of start thinking in that mentality and function of like a headline for a newspaper or something like that. So with Twitter, things that were different than Facebook and MySpace and other platforms that were in existence was, you liked stuff, which you could do on the other platforms, but you retweeted things. And a retweet was essentially taking whatever they published and putting it on your platform as well, on your profile. You're condoning it. You're sharing it with your audience. And then past that, you could also comment. Something that exploded, I think, because of the influence of Twitter was hashtags. And we'll get into hashtags, what they are and why they exist in a little bit. But then also huge huge thing was your followers were counted. They were counted, they were publicized, and if people in the initial days, if people contended with your personality or if you were a public persona, you would get verified. So that was something that was huge with Twitter. Moving on, Instagram came about in 2010. Different from Twitter, Instagram was a photo-based platform. Now, I want to acknowledge before we dive in deeper, MySpace and Facebook, I think, are also in different platform subcategories than Twitter and Instagram. Facebook and MySpace, you essentially could do your whole online life on. And what I mean is there wasn't really a restraint to its functions and features. It was really wide open, and it really encouraged people to, just kind of have a lot of life on there, a lot of hours on there. Now, Twitter is a very short platform. You hop on it, hop off it, but also a very obsessive platform. You can scroll for hours. You can get into hashtag feeds. You can follow people and find all different things. You can see breaking news, etc. And today, the opportunities are endless. Honestly, you could just live on any one of these platforms and never have to engage with another one today. But back when they were created, I would say that you'd live in Facebook and you would visit Twitter, visit Instagram, if that makes sense, because most of your real life interactions happened on Facebook or MySpace. And that might not be true for you, but that's just what I experienced. So with Instagram, like I said, Instagram really was similar mentally or framework wise to Twitter as far as that quick interaction kind of deal, except it was photo based. So Twitter and Instagram are both like driven. The amount of likes drives up the amount of popularity, publicity, etc. So they're both like driven, except for Twitter was text based, Instagram was photo based, and both of them, followers matter. They still matter. Now, moving on to the following year, 2011, that is when Snapchat was invented. Snapchat was invented in 2011 as a photo and video sharing platform that was really private, kind of. You had social media. It was like this different kind of social media that was messaging based. And I mean, yes, you could find different people, you could follow different people, you could engage with different people, like even famous people. But really, Snapchat thrived in privacy. It thrived in closed door conversations where it was between you and someone else. And that was known as a DM or a direct message, or a Snap chat. Likewise in Instagram and in Twitter, you could DM people. After a while with Twitter made it to where you can only DM. DM stands for direct message. You can only DM people who follow you. Same thing with Instagram to an extent. I mean, people can block you, whatever. But with Snapchat, what they did is they also had a public story that was available to your followers and viewers to watch. Well, that was a really good idea, and it changed a lot. And if you can kind of notice right now, Snapchat, as I acknowledged, was like a privatized environment. Instagram was public, same with Twitter. But what was missing was a video platform, and thus comes Vine, which was a release in 2012. Vine was explosive. Probably had more viral, more of a viral lifespan than any of these other platforms I just talked about. All these other platforms, I will say, created virality. Like things are capable of going viral today because of those platforms. But Vine changed the way that even our brains work. Vine released this app that was 5-second videos. That's it. It was a video only platform. You only had 5 seconds. If you were a advertiser, a commercial person, blah, 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 or a user in general, you had to say everything you wanted to say, be as funny as you wanted to be as personable as you wanted to be, make people love you in 5 seconds. We're 15 minutes into this video, and some of you probably still don't love me, and they only had 5 seconds, and they won almost every time. People were getting paid tons of money. This is really when influencers started exploding in the way that we think about influencers today. Obviously, all the other platforms I mentioned had a lot of influencers going on, but this is where we really started to hear about people getting paid to do social media. Okay. Moving forward, 2016 is TikTok. TikTok, massive company, international company. And the videos, it's a video driven platform. It's only video driven platform that is 15 seconds to 60 seconds long for each video. And what's different about this is it is actually based entirely around virality, becoming viral. And it's based on things like comedy, music, dancing, kind of themes. And the thing that kind of is the fuel behind it is sounds. Now, sounds, if I said right now, if I sang the song, I like big butts and I cannot lie, or something stupid like that, people could take the sound of my voice and make a video on their platform using my sound and, kind of do a skit to it or their own video to it or their own rendition or whatever I'm making. So what goes viral on TikTok is like someone will partner a dance with a song or some kind of, prank or comedy or body language, whatever, with a song, a sound, a monologue, whatever. And someone will then love that. They'll recreate it using the same sound. And then all of a sudden you kind of see this cycle happening of things becoming viral and trending. So that's like a short list. So we talked about MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And the reason I talked about them is because I really feel like that they are the framework and structure. Two of them are dead. MySpace is dead and Vine is dead, but the rest of them are fully alive and thriving still. And I think that they're the framework and structure for what social media is today. And I just want you to know, if you're thinking about trends and you hear things are trending or whatever, all trends are created by the act of sharing, retweeting, liking, because all of those, what they do is they get you placed in highly suggested places or encouraged or recommended or whatever, and then more people see you. And that's how things move. So let's talk about hashtags. I mentioned it in Twitter. Hashtags have existence on all of these platforms today. Hashtags, or, if you are someone who used to have a rotary phone or a button dial phone, it's the pound sign. Okay. The pound sign, the number sign, it is known as a hashtag in the world of social media and computers. So hashtags are not a means of marketing primarily. Hashtags are a mean of organizing information online. If you did a hashtag of your child, for example, like myself and my wife with both of our children, when we were really into social media, to be honest, I do so much social media now, I don't even want to touch it personally. I don't have any attraction to it. I want real life. I don't want fake life. But social media using hashtags, like on Instagram, our first child, her name is Ezra. We did hashtag Ezra Gale. And the way it's spelled, it's not weird, Ezragail, Ezra Gale. No one else was using that hashtag, which is very important when you use hashtags that are serving a purpose. We started using hashtag Ezra Gale on all of our photographs on Instagram that included our daughter. Now, today, at age 4, we can look back at hashtag Ezra Gale and see a beautiful album of our daughter growing up. It's really cool. Now, whereas I use hashtags as a personal reason because it organizes, essentially. Commonplace usage is also to organize, but it's to organize for the breadth and the congruence of a conversation on a specific topic. So when someone, say for example, I'll just give you an example. So if there's a lot going on right now about, big tech, which involves these companies, or there's a lot that's going on about COVID-19 or there's a lot of things that are going on. So let's say I am the, guy who leads social media for the state of Virginia, and I wanted to make something to where all of our citizens could just easily tune in. I would say, okay, hashtag COV19VA. Okay, so I didn't write all of the word out, but I made it really simple. So COV19VA. Hopefully, if anyone searched that hashtag, I would do a good enough job at populating only the information pertinent to that, and hopefully protecting it if things don't matter to it. But if the community wanted to have a conversation around it too, if they use that same hashtag, their information would also filter there. And see, this is why things can go viral on a Facebook, a Twitter, a YouTube, a whatever, when things are hashtag related. On Twitter specifically, if you have 400,000 people using the same exact hashtag, the algorithms within the platform are going to align them and show them to people who might feel that it is relative, or they'll put them on the explore pages or suggested pages or etc. to bring attention to them. If we had a bombing on the White House and someone, people even using relative, today's algorithms, even using a relative language will unify information. But that's really what hashtags are for. It's an organizational tool. So I promise you, when someone says hashtag blessed, they're using it in the kitschiest of forms and nowhere near the purpose of a hashtag. If you go into, if you go into a restaurant and it says hashtag gravy time or something silly like that, and they're not saying like, post this online and use this hashtag for us to find you. They're not, if they're just using hashtags for decoration, it doesn't make sense. Now, good question that you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Are all these platforms that were aforementioned connected? In many scenarios, these platforms own each other in the list. So like Facebook owns Instagram. Twitter used to own Vine. There's different things. So, but real quick before I wrap it up, so things that are not to be forgotten in the big tech world, or in the, I'm just going to call it that, whether you have a feeling against that or not. I don't have anything against these technical companies. When I say big tech, I'm not thinking in a political mindset. Like, I don't know how else to categorize them because they're not all social media companies. But YouTube, honestly, I could not have a career without YouTube. My whole entire livelihood is because of YouTube. If it's not because of YouTube, monetization wise, it's the content I make lives on YouTube. So if there wasn't YouTube, the stuff that I make would never have been given purpose for the life it has, if that makes sense. YouTube was created in 2005. It is a video-driven platform. It is a user-submitted video-driven platform. So I make the content, I upload the content. You make the content, you upload the content. It's not like a Hulu. Hulu is not a user-submitted video platform. YouTube is. YouTube is monetized at a certain threshold. So today you have to have over 1,000 subscribers and over 4,000 watch time hours within a 12-month period. Not within 12 months of starting your account, not within 12 months of, whatever. It's the day you apply. Over those last 12 months, you have to have 4,000 watch time hours. And that just means that the cumulative minutes and seconds people have watched all of your videos together equals 4,000 hours. That's your watch time hours. YouTube is subscriber based. It's not follower based or like based. It's the same thing, just a different word, subscribers. And the virality comes through suggested videos and view counts. Suggested videos happen through hashtags and descriptions, topics. You can put videos into categories, etc. And then lastly, talking about giants, Google. Google is not social media. Just want you to know that. Google is a search engine, and it's way, way more. You can find info, web pages, news, shopping, photos, videos, images, and more related to whatever your search terms are. Today, let's talk about this. How do these platforms work? Well, today, most technology uses algorithms to fuel what you see, what you don't see, and who sees you and what you do. So that's algorithms. Aside from algorithms, Money plays a huge part. Advertising fuels everything. Whoever wants to put money into something, I mean, Procter & Gamble can dump a ton of money into Facebook, which they do. They're the biggest ad revenue. Procter & Gamble can dump a ton of money into Facebook and then help Facebook decide what people do and don't see, how to remove dissension on a platform. Money. If you ever have a question about why something is the way it is, just follow money. Follow the money back. You got your answer. What's an algorithm? Because that's really oftentimes what really gets to us. Simply put, the recipe you use to make a cake is an algorithm for making cake. There's an input of data, your ingredients, a desired output, the cake, and the algorithm in the middle sorts out the details to make sure you get your desired conclusion. Well, what are the details? Well, in a cake recipe, it's the measurements, it's the amounts, it's the timing, it's the baking, it's all the different things that happen in the middle. That's the algorithm. Okay, super simple. Computers just do it for us. In our case, the decided desire of the user base is that they want to see things, people, places, and especially friends that they like. The hard thing is, do the goals of the user match the goals of big tech? It's a great question, and unfortunately, it is only for them to know. But what I do know is that right now on any given platform, following people is not enough to get you to see what you want. In my research and in my experience, interaction is key. Interaction is key. Interaction is key. If you want to see more of someone, engage with them. What does that mean? Engagement is whatever actions you can take on a platform. For example, following, liking, commenting, retweeting, saving, favoriting, sharing, etc. If we leave the internet, interacting with people, engaging with people is when you go and hang out with your friend, you say hi, you talk to them, give them a high five, give them a handshake, go to the movies with them, go grab a bite to eat, buy the food for them, bring them a birthday present on their birthday. It just translates to sending them a happy birthday on their Facebook wall, or, putting an expression on one of their posts, or answering with a GIF, or liking or retweeting their stuff. That is engagement, okay? Real life engagement, online engagement, same thing, different place, okay? But in a nutshell, there's a lot going on in social media, okay? I talked about the initial features of these sites today, but all of them have a little bit of what each other what each other on their own have. Because I talked about Instagram in 2005 when it was created, but today Instagram does a lot of what these other platforms do also. For example, when Snapchat wouldn't sell to Facebook had already bought Instagram. Snapchat came along because in the beginning, Facebook and Instagram were competitors. People wanted Instagram, they wanted IG, they wanted all those different things. And Facebook was hurting. So Facebook said, I'll take that. Thank you. And they approached Snapchat, and Snapchat said, no. So Facebook created their own Snapchat, basically, on Instagram. They created Instagram stories. And, when they made the stories feature, that became all the rage. And when that became the rage, years later, actually, Twitter added Fleets, which is the same thing. YouTube added Shorts, which is still in beta mode this day, June 18th, 2021. And the examples don't stop there, but I will. So I hope that if you have any questions about social media and usage, the purpose, or how it can work for you or your business, let me know. These are things that I'm passionate about. I don't think I took any breaths during that, and here we are at 30 minutes. So, hopefully this was informational to you. Hopefully you learned something, and if you have any more questions, let me know. Have a good day.